Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Wednesday, August 16th. This is Gina McGuire. Over the next couple of days, we will not have any significant impacts to fire potential. A cold front has moved through the northern half of the Great Basin and stalled over central areas. Therefore, we may see some isolated thunderstorms at times over parts of Utah and Nevada. However, lightning coverage will decrease on Thursday and then start increasing, especially as we go towards the weekend, with more significant lightning expected by Saturday, Sunday into early next week. The last 24 hours, we saw general lightning over parts of northeastern Utah, and then a few isolated storms over parts of central Idaho back into western Utah, with one lightning strike with some showers over far western Nevada. You can see from the image on the left that we had generally light amounts of precipitation, but humidity was a little bit higher in the north and west. And we did have some heavier amounts of rainfall with these thunderstorms over Utah and into parts of Idaho. Over the last 24 hours, we've seen light initial attack across the Great Basin. Looking at the last 1 to 4 weeks, over the last 7 days, we've seen dry conditions over central and southwest Nevada. However, thunderstorms have focused mainly over northern and eastern areas. Over the last month, we've seen with the monsoon above normal precipitation over the southern half of the Great Basin, with still very dry conditions over the last 30 days over mainly central and southern Idaho. How this has changed our fuel conditions, with the moisture in the south being very persistent, our ERCs continue to remain generally below the 50th percentile. As we move further north, ERCs start to increase, but have been on the decline in the last few days with that cold front moving through. Over central Idaho, the central Idaho mountains, we still have ERCs above the 80th to 90th percentile. In these areas, we'll see drier conditions over the next several days, with ERCs increasing. However, still in areas over northern Nevada, northern Utah, and southern Idaho, where ERCs are not quite as critical, we still have a significant grass crop which will drive fire behavior as we dry out this week. If we look at our 10-hour fuel moisture, 10-hour fuel moisture has decreased significantly from what we saw yesterday with that cold front dropping south, but as dry air has been in place for another day, we are seeing critical levels over the western half of the Great Basin. If we look at the satellite loop from this morning, we do have some clouds to deal with over parts of Nevada into Utah, otherwise clear skies across Idaho, and clear skies over the southern areas of the Great Basin. As we look at the weather pattern later today, that cloud cover this morning over Nevada will slide slightly south and east as drier air works into Idaho and northwest Nevada, with again isolated thunderstorms over predominantly central and eastern Nevada into Utah. We do not have any high risk issued as fuels have moderated in these areas. You can see the image on the left, which shows the areas of thunderstorms across mainly parts of Nevada and Utah, maybe into southeast Idaho and Wyoming. No significant wind concerns are expected today with the exception of gusty outflow winds near thunderstorms and maybe a slight breeze from the northwest over parts of southern Idaho. However, gusts will likely be around 20 miles per hour. As we move into Thursday, drier air pushes further south, suppressing a lot of that moisture. Therefore, we will see a decrease in lightning activity on Thursday with no high risk issued. You can see the image on the left shows a decrease in that lightning potential. Still some isolated storms possible mainly across Utah tomorrow, maybe even into eastern Nevada and parts of the central Sierra. Again, no wind concerns on Thursday. We may see a slight increase in those northwesterly winds across southern Idaho with gusts around 25 miles per hour. On Friday, moisture starts to increase again along that frontal boundary over the central areas of the Great Basin. We do not have any high risk issued. Again, most of the lightning on Friday will occur in areas where fuels have been moderated and also be isolated. You can see the image on the left shows that slight increase from Thursday into Friday for the lightning, and mainly over the southern half of Utah into central and eastern Nevada. Again, no wind concerns on Friday, and winds even across Idaho may decrease slightly from Thursday to Friday across the southern areas. The 3-day forecast amount of precipitation is generally spotty and associated with lightning activity, so we're not expecting any significant widespread precipitation for the Great Basin. As we move into the weekend, the double red line shows that line of the eclipse across Wyoming into Idaho and Oregon, so we will be monitoring the amount of moisture moving that far north. On Saturday, we will see moisture start to build further north, mainly remaining still in Nevada and Utah. We have not issued any high risk. However, on Saturday, that lightning may start to develop further north along the Sierra front into northwest Nevada, and we will be monitoring those areas since they are on the drier side if lightning looks to produce very little moisture. As we move into Sunday, that moisture moves further north up over southern Idaho. Some more cloudy conditions expected for areas of the eclipse over southern Idaho, but most of the lightning activity will remain across Nevada and Utah. Again, we have issued no high risk as most of the fuels have moderated, but we will be watching these western and northern extent. On Monday, that moisture starts pushing a little bit further north, where we might see some lightning activity briefly on Sunday near the Idaho-Nevada border, but also on Monday pushing further north into southern Idaho. We also have drier air working into the southern areas of the Great Basin. By Tuesday, that lightning activity pushes further north, likely into the central Idaho mountains, so we will be watching those areas for possible high risk as we move into early next week, considering ERCs are still very critical with dry conditions. Drier air does work into the southern areas of the Great Basin through Tuesday. Looking at the 7-day forecast amount of precipitation, again, this will largely be tied to thunderstorm activity and fairly variable across areas of Nevada, Utah, and southern Idaho. Looking a little bit further ahead towards the very end of August, still warm temperatures are expected to be in place with drier conditions across the Great Basin. That concludes our briefing for today. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us. Thank you for listening.